Percy Grainger used an original melody created by C. Villiers Stanford to create a piano composition that was published in 1916. The band arrangement of this piano composition was completed in January 2018. After a brief introduction by the second and third clarinets, the first clarinet introduces the first section, which contains 2 phrases. Each phrase is 6 measures long. The articulations in these 2 phrases include various combinations of connected and separated quarter notes and eighth notes. Throughout the composition, changing patterns of connected and separated quarter notes and eighth notes from one section to the next make the articulation phrasings, like a leprechaun, seem a bit unpredictable. The second section begins at measure 16 with a flowing 2-measure melody followed by an echo effect. This is presented a second time with a slightly extended echo effect that ends with the English horn playing the semi-legato. In both cases, mallet percussion support this echo effect. The English horn and other accompanimental instruments fade before the flowing melody again is heard. Staccato is the prevailing style for the final 4 measures of this section. The entry of the third section in measure 33 is characterized by a new pattern of long and short articulations supported by a tromping effect in the low brass. The biggest challenge here is having all of the low brass produce the same note lengths, not too long and not too short. In the next phrase, the melody is dolissimo, but the accompaniment is broken up and elusive. The fourth section is introduced in measure 42. 3 short 2-measure phrases that are mostly staccato are followed by a 2-measure phrase that is legato. All voices arrive at a fermata, although at slightly different times. There is no change of tempo going into the fermata. Players take a quick breath after this fermata before beginning the next phrase. The new section starting at measure 50 has 2 phrases. The second phrase is cut short and ends with a polka retard. Because this polka retard starts late in the measure, the only note that is affected by the flute and the French horns is the very last note of that measure. After a quick breath, players return on measure 56 with a non-legato rendition of the first section. Measure 59 is the only measure in this short section that contains accents. In measure 64, there is a return to the second section from measure 16. This time, however, there is no echo effect. Each phrase flows directly into the next phrase. This section ends on measure 79 abruptly and without a slowdown of tempo. The piccolo should be the last instrument to release its notes. After a quick breath, performers enter measure 80, a return to the third section that was introduced on measure 33. The polka retard takes place entirely on beat 3, which becomes a subdivided beat. As before, performers release the fermata with a quick breath before completing the phrase. On measure 84, a recap of the fourth section from measure 42 is performed by the tubas. The final few measures are played gently and quietly, like a leprechaun making a subtle exit.